Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alina Islam, and I'm a Senior Research Associate here at Red Cloud Securities. I'm very pleased to introduce Foremost Lithium to you today, a hard rock lithium explorer and developer advancing several projects in Manitoba's Snow Lake Mining District. For the webinar today, we have with us Jason Barnard, CEO and President, and Mark Federico, VP Exploration. Jason and Mark will provide an introduction to the company, including an overview of activities currently underway at its Lithium Lane properties and catalysts that may lie ahead. After the presentation, we'll take your questions live. Please send us your questions via the chat box and we'll get through as many as we can. Before we get started, I do need to mention a few disclosures. For Foremost Lithium, there may be some forward-looking statements made on this call. I would direct listeners to the cautionary note on page 2 of the Foremost Lithium corporate presentation located on the company's website. For Red Cloud Securities, I would highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation to purchase or sell securities or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not take into account the particular situation or needs of individual investors. Participants should rely on their own investigations and seek their own professional advice before investment. Please see our most recent research located on our website for Foremost Lithium specific disclosures. With that, Jason and Mark, I'll hand it over to you. Please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us to let us tell you the Foremost Lithium story. I can tell you that Foremost Lithium is about to embark on its most exciting year, and let's unpack that. First of all, the disclaimer was mentioned. I would like to make the disclaimer that I'm not a geologist, and so I will be talking about geological situations. I've got almost 30 years of financing resource companies, so I do know something, but I am not a geologist. Okay, Foremost Lithium. As I mentioned, we are a hard rock lithium company. Our properties are located in Snow Lake, Manitoba. Our goal as a hard rock lithium company is to produce lithium oxide ore, otherwise known as spodumene concentrate, for delivery to a toll mine in the area. We will use the DSO method, the direct shipping ore method that many companies use in Australia where there's more mines, and we will ship ore when it's available to a mine in the area. By the way, we're lucky to have a mine in the area. If we had to build one, it's about $300 million. So that's a very favorable for us. Recent developments. Recently, when I first became president, I sold a non-core asset for $3.5 million to the Australians, to an Australian group. That was a non-dilutive financing, or non-dilutive $3.5 million to the Treasury, and we are currently using that for exploration. Second recent development is a metallurgical study. We commissioned XPS to do a 500 kilogram sample. We had favorable results that show that we are amenable to 6% lithium carbonate, and we've also shown through that successful metallurgical study, large one, that we are amenable to the dense media separation technique, which is the favorable and most profitable technique in the industry. So that metallurgical report, very favorable. Another recent development, we just finished our 24-hole, 3,000-meter drill program, our maiden drill program on Jean Lake. We have cores in for assay, and we're eagerly anticipating the results on that soon. Project highlights. The company has 40 confirmed pegmatites. A pegmatite, I'll touch on pegmatites because a lot of people ask me what's a pegmatite, Jason, and you could think of a pegmatite is like a molar type situation. We all know that ore comes from the middle of the earth, and over 1 million years, it comes up through fissures with molten lava, and it hardens when it cools at the surface. And you can see a pegmatite from airborne survey. You can sample it. You can even see it from the air. And if these pegmatites have the proper formation of crystals, they contain lithium. And we're going to go and test these pegmatites. So just a little bit on what a pegmatite is, because we're always talking about them and people are like, well, what is it, Jason? So that's a non-technical description. It's like a molar in the ground, sizable, and it's our job to go and test for the lithium. We have 40 pegmatite dikes. We have 5 district scale properties. We call them the Lithium Lane properties, and we have 43,000 acres in Snow Lake, Manitoba. We have the Zoro property. The Zoro property, we made a discovery in 2017, actually, and the market was very favorable to that, rewarded us by sending us to $1.10. So the Zoro property, where we have a resource, the Peg North, which is our largest property, the Grass River and the Jol properties, and most importantly, the Jean Lake property, where we've just finished our maiden drill program. Also on the Jean Lake property, I can mention that we've drill tested those the barrel pegmatite dikes. These are B1, B2, where we recently sampled between 3.5% and 9% from samples lithium. And these dikes, these lithium bearing dikes, are only a few hundred meters away from where Snow Lake Lithium has been drilling, and Snow Lake Lithium has a 11 million ton of over 1% reserve just in the area. And so we're looking forward to what we see from the Barrel 1 and Barrel 2 pegmatites. These lithium dikes, they come in clusters, and we have a very attractive geology. These lithium dikes follow the Croduck Bay Fault. I mentioned the fissures where the molten lava comes up. That's where they come up in the faults, and it's also along the Thompson Brothers Trend. Insofar as market conditions, we like what we see with the lithium commodity. Lithium drivers. I think we all know lithium. What's going on with lithium in the electric vehicle market. I will point out the Inflation Reduction Act that Biden put in place offers a $7,500 to $40,000 tax credit. There is a rub, though. You must source supply of parts and lithium from free trade partner companies. So this is creating a lot of capital to come into lithium to meet that demand. Just today, by the way, a new EPA initiative from Washington came out, whereby they are going to increase the emission standards over the next years, so that it almost becomes impossible for a combustion engine to meet these emission standards. And now they are forecasting that vehicle vehicles will in 2030 be 65% of the vehicles made in North America. That's from 5.6%. So real drivers there, and we're happy to be in the lithium space. There you can see that this is a busy slide, but we're at the tip of the NAFTA superhighway. Those are all connected to battery manufacturers, those little places. I invite you to take a look, and we're right at the tip of that. Manitoba Advantage. Manitoba is a great place to mine. It's very mining friendly. It's been mining in the area of Flin Flon for over 100 years. There's nickel mines, there's other mines. It also offers the most generous mineral tax credits, or some of the most generous mineral tax credits in Canada. Ourselves, the Manitoba government has given us two $300,000 grants totaling $600,000. So they're very amenable to lithium mining and production. The most important advantage is the Tanko mine. We're 600 kilometers away from the Tanko mine, which allows us to go and take advantage of that DSO, that direct shipping ore methodology to get us a revenue stream. So if we can go and do what we want to do so far as discoveries and proving up lithium, we have somewhere, a toll mine, we can send it to. And that's very favorable. Most, if we look at Quebec, they are opening up and have opened up the NAL mine. That's the second lithium mine. People don't know that this mine has been in production because it's owned by Sinomine. That's a Chinese parent, and so it doesn't get a lot of the headlines, but I feel it will, and we're very lucky to be near it. So the de-risking of targets and the exploration side of things, this makes me want to talk about our theory and my theory for Foremost Lithium, and that is that you gain the most amount of appreciation, shareholder value, when you go into the discovery phase. We made a discovery in 2017, and the market rewarded us. This makes me want to speak of the market darling that is Patriot Battery Metals in northern Quebec, James Bay area. The Corvette property was a monster discovery, and the stock that was a year and a half ago 30 cents moved to the $15 range. I think it's around the $13 range now, a $1.2 billion company. So the market will go reward discoveries, and it's our view that that's the most exciting time for shareholder value. Also, you can do higher price financings once you make these discoveries. We've systematically spent $3.5 million last year to de-risk our targets on all of our properties, and our job is to go and drill off these properties and then circle back to the most prospective results, drill off a resource, and starting on our pre-feasibility phase. Road to success. Foremost Lithium has been heading down this road to success. As I mentioned, the discovery in 2017. Since then, we've added 3 large district scale properties. We've added about 33,000 acres. The recent properties, Peg North and Jean Lake and Grass River, were added during the 2022 crash, so it mostly went unnoticed by the market. We're hoping we can get what we deserve so far as market cap from these properties as we explore them. Down the road of success, we've got new management. We've got previous presidents of battery metals companies on the board. We've got an experienced board, better than ever. We've got a advisory board full of geologists that really have a lot of experience and know their way around things. So we're moving down that road to success. As I said, our job is to go and drill all 4 of our properties, find the discoveries, and then circle back to drill off resources so that we can move to pre-feasibility study in that direct shipping or strategy that I spoke of. So here's all of our properties, 42,000 acres. You can go take a look at this map along the Crodic Bay Fault, along the Thompson Brothers Trend near Snow Lake Lithium's 11 million ton of over 1% reserve. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mark Fedicow, who's going to dig a little deeper on our properties. He's our VP of Exploration. I'll hand it over to you now, Mark.
Thanks, Jason. Our first property for discussion purposes is Jean Lake, where we've just finished a 3,000 meter drilling program. Those drill targets were based on an integrated approach of drone-assisted magnetic and LiDAR surveys. You'll see the map on the right-hand side is some of the results from the LiDAR mag survey. The various colors depict the lithologies on the property, and those linear features of multicolored circles are what you might refer to as magnetic lows. Those were some of the drill targets on our just recently completed drill program. The triangles there, you'll see B1 through B3. Those are historic pegmatite dikes that we rediscovered in 2021 by prospecting. B1 and B2 in particular, you can see the assay results for representative grab samples from those pegmatites, very high grade Li₂O. So we're moving ahead on the property. We're awaiting, as Jason mentioned, assay results from our drill core. We've got quite a number of samples we're waiting to get back, and we'll be producing the results of those assays in a news release form, we hope, in the fairly near future. But that's the Jean Lake project. It was our maiden drill program on the 4 major properties. The next property is Zoro. Zoro is where we have a resource defined, 1 million tons, just over 1 million tons at 0.91 Li₂O at a 0.3 Li₂O cutoff. There's a large number of dikes on the property. There are 16 spodumene-bearing dikes that we have either discovered or were known historically. We have plans to continue drill testing on the property, 2,000 meters, coming up in a drill program, mainly to extend these known pegmatite dikes, both laterally and at depth. That's on the books for 2023. We also collected a mini bulk sample, 500 kilograms, with the goal. We worked with XPS and SGS Canada, and the goal was to produce a 6% spodumene concentrate, which was subsequently amenable to the production of lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate. That was a successful exercise. You can see the numbers there in front of you, so we're very happy with the caliber, the quality of the material, the mineralization in Dike 1 on the Zoro property, which is treatable metallurgically with more or less routine industry standard approaches. Grass River is one of our larger properties. This is a unique property with 17 known pegmatite dikes on the property. The red blobs in the map on the right-hand side, those are large pegmatites exposed at surface that have been underexplored historically. We'll be taking a close look at those. The little yellow circles on the map, you'll see those are drill-indicated spodumene-bearing pegmatite dikes intersected during historic drilling of airborne and ground geophysical targets for base metals. It's important to note that the Grass River, Jean Lake, and the rest of our properties have had drone mag surveys completed. We're in the process of interpreting those results and selecting drill targets. Also, LiDAR has been done, and that includes the Grass River. That is our #1 prospecting tool in terms of depicting linear features, potential structures hosting pegmatite dikes. So like the other properties, Grass River has targets defined by the integration of airborne drone magnetics and LiDAR and soil and rock geochemistry. Okay, that's Grass River. Peg North, our largest property. It straddles the Grass River Fault, the Crow Duck Bay Fault, and the importance of that is that feature, that Grass River Fault is a crustal scale structure, which is the focal point for pegmatite and spodumene-bearing pegmatite development in the Snow Lake pegmatite fields. So Peg North straddles that. It's a large property with 5 known pegmatite dikes. And just recently, we were able to see the kind of detail that's coming out of our drone mag surveys. You'll see on the right the results of the mag survey and the depiction of a major structural feature previously unknown, and associated with that major structure is a 39-hectare area of magnetically depleted rocks, which generally depicts alteration resulting in potential mineralization, including pegmatite dikes and lithium-bearing pegmatite dikes. So lots of exploration potential and targets coming out of the drone surveys. And that's Peg North. Here is our timelines from 2023 through to 2024. Basically, we're moving from our known surveys, the drone mag and LiDAR surveys, into drill programs based on the integration of data such as prospecting observations, rock and soil geochem surveys. And we will drill our derived targets from those databases. And we will, once a discovery is made, we will follow up with a more detailed drill program to build a resource. And so that's pretty much our approach to the Snow Lake pegmatite properties.
Thanks, Mark. Just touch on another project, the Winston Gold and Silver Project in New Mexico. The company actually IPO'd on this high-grade silver, gold, silver property. We've increased it to 2,800 acres. In the early 1980s, this was in production during the big silver boom. There has been recent samples of 66.5 grams per ton gold, 4,600 grams per ton silver. This is a vein system that's close to the ground. It would be very quick to collect revenue if we went and decided to mine it. The idea is to spin this off eventually, although we are continuing with our exploration this summer. We've just flown for our targets, and we're applying for drill permits as we speak so that we can go there in the later summer and drill for gold and silver. So we're not forgetting about our gold and silver. This slide is a comparable slide. We at Foremost Lithium, myself included, think that the largest increase in shareholder value, share price, doing higher price financings comes when the market rewards you for discovery. So as mentioned, we spent $3.5 million getting our targets ready. We just finished our drill program, and we are anticipating our results from Jean Lake. So this discovery phase has shown to give a lot of shareholder value. Of course, the comparable there is Patriot Battery Metals. Like I mentioned, they hit a monster discovery. It's fantastic, and it's good for Canada. In Quebec, they moved from about a $30 million market cap to a $1.2 million market cap, as you can see, as they have continued to discover more and more lithium. Rock Tech is actually in their phase like us, where they're drilling to try to prove up discovery. Frontier, more of they've hit already, it's $500 million market cap, infill drilling, where they prove out their resource. It's interesting to point out that all of those three that I just went to have no lithium mines in the area. So they will, the lithium mining will happen more in the 5 to 10 year time horizon, unlike Foremost Lithium, where we plan to take advantage with our DSO strategy and a mine in the area. We plan to take advantage of this lithium cycle. You can see lithium ionic is a comparable. They're hitting lithium. They've went to a $240 million market cap. And Brunswick, they are just about to start drilling. They're moving into discovery phase. They have many, many properties, so a lot of properties there. $160 million market cap. You can see Foremost Lithium, low market cap, moving into discovery phase, 31 million, and we expect the market to reward us going forward. So that's the market comps that allows you to realize that Foremost Lithium has not really been rewarded because of its timing and because of some other things insofar as where we are in our assets, and we expect to move into discovery phase and see the rewards in the near future. New and experienced management, you can see where there's some new people on our board. This changed over in early December. I'll point out Jonathan Moore, who's the president or recent president of Power Metals, a battery metals company. He also is the president of Star Peak. We've got other capital markets people and other people that are very experienced in the markets on our board. Our advisory board is, we could see Mark Fedekow, our VP of Exploration, Lindsay Bottomer, very experienced geological people. Capitalization, I will point out that I'm the largest shareholder with my wife, own over 10% of the company. We also have a small institution in there. I feel that I've been talking to a lot of institutions. We are one or two institutions away from really reaping the rewards on the share price and market valuation. I've been talking to institutions. They are interested. We've had multiple meetings with Mitsubishi, who is interested in us. We have a contact that's put us in touch with LG Energy Solutions, where there was an MOU done with our neighbor, Snow Lake Lithium. So we're talking to lots of institutions. And if anybody has any questions about the capitalization of the company, the cap table, they can call me or email me. Investment highlights. We are strategically located in Manitoba. I've covered a lot of this. Lithium Lane properties, favorable outlook in the market, and of course, our 40 confirmed pegmatite dikes that we are going to go and explore and look for discovery. So that's the story on Foremost Lithium, and I will point out that anybody can call me, email me if they have any questions or they would like to inquire about investing. I'm ready to go 24/7, and I'll now leave it up to you.
Well, thank you, Jason and Mark, for that great presentation. So we'll now start the Q&A portion of the webinar. Just as a reminder to everyone, you can type your questions into the chat box at any time. So first question, I guess, you talked about the Gene Lake project and drilling that was completed there. When do you expect to start receiving assays and then, I guess, publish a press release on it?
I'll let Mark chime in here, but there is huge backlogs at the assay labs. I think we're at least a month away from receiving results. And if, when we do get them, we'll news release them, of course. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mark.
No, that's pretty much the answer there, Jason. We have submitted batches of drill core samples to the assay lab, and that's just to get the process underway, because we know that the backlogs are there and the delays are real. So 3 to 4 weeks, if not more, before we get our data back in its entirety.
All right, sounds good. So just moving over to Zoro, what areas of the project are you planning to target? Is it more where the current resource exists, or are you targeting new pegmatites?
We're going to look to extend the known pegmatites with the drill program coming up. That's both laterally off either end of the known pegmatites and at depth. I think it's worth noting that unlike some circumstances or situations, our pegmatites are buried. They're buried beneath glacial overburden. And so it's not a matter of just walking up and plopping a drill down on the target. We have to do surveys to try and define where we think the best area is to drill to extend those targets or known targets. So it's a process, and one in which we are undertaking on all of our properties.
Okay, just a question on the met work. Are you planning any additional met work, or are you happy with the results that you've seen from phase 2?
Do you want to take that, Mark?
Sure, Jason. Yeah, we're very happy. We had an excellent experience with SGS and XPS. The results are exactly what we were looking for. We know that we can produce a spodumene concentrate, 6%, and that concentrate can be taken to the next step using standard industry methods in metallurgy. So we're very, very, very pleased with our 500 kilo bulk sample.
Okay, so a question here about what First Nation lands are impacted by your properties, and if there are, what stage of cooperation are you with them to ensure that you can achieve the social license?
I think we're pretty lucky in our area, and I'll let Mark speak on that. Treaties were done long ago, I believe, but I'm going to let Mark speak on that. And we don't really have issues at the moment. But Mark, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Just recently, there was an attempt to confirm the presence or absence of historic First Nations communities in the Snow Lake area. There is no record of any First Nations community in the Snow Lake area. In fact, that goes all the way over to Flin Flon. So currently, there are no First Nation claims to deal with. And accordingly, the Manitoba government has not done consultation, and we have not done engagement with any First Nations because they simply are not present in this area of Manitoba.
Okay, just going back to the question on the met work, are you planning in the future to convert spodumene concentrate into hydroxide?
We can do that. The results tell us that we're certainly well situated to move forward to the next phase, but we're not planning on doing that at this moment. That may be addressed with further drilling. The resource at Dike 1 is open at depth and probably in at least one direction. So we have a lot of work to firm up the resource, and but we are able and have the results to move forward if and when we decide to do that.
All right. Moving over to the Grouse River and Peg North properties. So you have a prospecting program planned there. Are you going to take it, do the program concurrently, or are you going to sort of schedule it in, finish one, and then move on to the other?
We'll try and move all groundwork, prospecting, rock and soil surveys, based on the drone surveys that have been completed. They underpin everything we do, and so that provides us with targets to address with the various surveys. So we will try and move all of the properties forward at the same time and put them in a position whereby we're ready to drill test once the decision is made to move forward with the drill.
All right. So with the the sale of your non-core asset, do you have enough in the bank now to get you through all the exploration programs planned for this year?
Yes, we're in pretty good shape. The 3.5 million cash came in when we had spent all the money on getting these targets ready. So we spent 3.5 million last year. We have 3.5 million for this year. At the moment, we're done our major exploration expense until we get further into the summer as the ice thaws. But we're in a good situation.
Okay, Jason, just going back
There's
to,
no necessity for immediate financing if that's to answer the question. And when we do go to the market, we're looking for strategic partners, institutions, and we wouldn't do a financing down at this level, I don't suppose. We want to be a better market cap. We think our price is too low.
sounds good. So just on the Winston spin out, what's the potential timing on that?
Potential timing. I am in a situation right now where we've been quite busy with exploration. The style of spin out we want to do is not a plan of arrangement, but I am looking for a strategic partner in so far as uh, a smaller company that would issue shares to all of Foremost Lithium's shareholders and write us a check for our treasury. I like to uh, do deals. I like to do deals with our assets. We've got a lot of them. So it's all based on the partner that I'll find so far as that company that will issue Foremost Lithium shares and Foremost Lithium a check. So that would be an RTO style, reverse takeover style um, spin out. So you've got to go find the right partner. When that a partner arrives, we'll do the deal.
Understood. Okay, another question here. Who are the key players so far in the Manitoba area involved in the production of spodumene concentrate?
Well, do you want to answer that? There's we have a mine that's in production that's currently taking on feedstock where they can get it, but they're going to run out of supply. Do you want to touch on that, Mark?
Yeah, there are a number of junior companies active in the exploration for lithium-bearing pegmatites that have been talking with Tanco to arrange an agreement whereby they would supply material from their properties. And so there are perhaps three junior companies, including Snow Lake Lithium, our next door neighbor in Snow Lake. So that's pretty much all I can tell you. There are a small number in Manitoba that are in consultation with Tanco.
But that does lead me to point out we have the Tanko mine. We have Manitoba wanting to be the next Quebec. Quebec's had huge discoveries. Ontario's had huge discoveries, critical elements, uh, uh, frontier lithium. Manitoba, we feel, is next. The government and the mining community would like to see a lot more capital go into finding lithium deposits and proving up reserves, and it becomes a necessity for Tanco to find those reserves because they don't have maybe Mark can touch on that. It'll be a while before they have a pit that they can pull reserves from. So we're all busy trying to prove up what will be delivered to that, what would be and should be a toll mining situation, and hence all of the exploration that these companies are doing.
Okay, a follow up question for you, Jason, on your the question on the Winston spin out. Would you consider an RTO with a small US company?
We would consider an RTO. We think the valuation of our New Mexico situation, it's not really baked into the company, hence the RTO spin-out strategy. In actuality, the sum of the parts are worth more. We would look at, yes, a US situation. It all depends on the structure of that company because they have to issue shares to all of Foremost Lithium shareholders, and also we would expect a cash payment. Um, Rather than sell it for cash, we would reap the benefits from owning the shares of the RTO as a share dividend. And we will do it with a US, we will do it with a Canadian. It all depends on the deal.
Okay,
That's best
Mark.
for Foremost. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Mark, a question for you. Has Foremost looked at Acme Lithium's use of magnetic vector inversion on aeromagnetic data at its Chatford Lake project and considered if it could be applicable to Foremost projects?
Well, we've actually done that in the process of interpreting the data that's been acquired by the drones surveys, mag surveys on each of the four major projects. So we are looking into every form of interpretation. We're working with EarthX Geophysical Solutions out of Manitoba on that front. And so, yes, while I've not seen that particular property, I do know that we are putting that database through a fine-tooth comb, you might say, to pull out targets and directions for our future programs.
Okay, last question here. Could you provide a summary of upcoming catalysts, let's say in the next 6 to 12 months?
Upcoming catalysts would be, of course, our drilling results from Jean Lake. Also, upcoming catalyst would have to do with, I feel, possibly, well, it's very forward-looking, so I can't say much, but we're looking for strategic partners. I keep talking to the Australians. I did one deal with them for our non-core asset. Actually, Patriot Batter Metals was our partner on that. That Australian group is very interested in Foremost Lithium. We'll continue talking to them. The possibility for offtake, many inquiries on offtake could be a catalyst, could. And of course, we'll continue to get results from our further exploration to drill define our targets on Peg North, Grass River, more Zoro, more Jean Lake. Mark can touch on this, but lots of good information to come. And of course, we plan to get in there. We're not stopping on our New Mexico property. Gold's up. We'll go and drill those veins. We know they're there. They've been mined before. So there's the gold silver situation, and of course the excitement that should come, we don't know, from a spin out. Those are the catalysts.
All right, well, that's it for the Q&A portion of the webinar. Jason and Mark, I would like to thank you for taking time to host this webinar with us today. Just as a reminder for our audience, our next webinar will feature energy fuels, and that's tomorrow, April 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in with us, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.